to say some things I normally wouldn't say. MANOSPHERE, how has it helped me? I ran into it 5 years ago. And let me start how I was raised. I was abused mentally and physically. And I remember one of the events where something minor was done. What ended up happening, one side of my face was swollen and I couldn't go to school for a week. And I was, 11 or 12 at the time, or maybe 13, 12 or 13. And a lot happened as I was growing up in this country. I wasn't allowed to get phone calls or date. I was kept away from my father, and verbally things were said to me. And for years, I don't know why. And there is no reason why it should have taken place, but these things happened in my development. Because I'm going to say this, and I say this with no hesitation. Jamaicans raise murderers. And who doesn't like what I'm saying? I don't care. I was very quiet around the home. And I couldn't function with people. I could joke and all that, but I just couldn't function. I didn't know how to really, I was emotionally undeveloped. I could handle extreme things, but when it came to, let's say, being normal, I would be very quiet and reserved. Yeah, it had an effect. When you're raised by one parent, it will definitely have an effect on you. But when you go through what I thought at the time was tragic, I would say it was tragic as far as what took place or what happened to me. And I don't feel sorry. I'm not saying that I would do it again, no. But it definitely has its effect. For instance, there was a lot of girls that liked me. In fact, recently Vernon told me one of his, I think it was a niece. I didn't know at the time, but she's very attractive. Oh, God. Whew, Lord have mercy. She admired me, but I didn't know. And my teacher told me there was a lot of women that liked me, but they didn't know how to approach me because I was more of a oddball, if that makes any sense. That being said, the way I was raised and what was done to me, some people become abusers as they get older. For me, it was reverse. I actually enjoy being good to somebody. I really enjoy it because that's what I wanted done for me or to me. So if I got involved with somebody, I never would let them, they didn't have to guess, does Jason give a damn about me? No, it wasn't that. I always went out my way. Not overly, but, if the girl felt a certain way about herself, I said, nah, I think you're gorgeous. I don't care how society looks at the person, as long as I like it. That was me. I had a girl that had a thyroid problem. Now, people probably saying, well, what does all this have to do with the manosphere? Don't worry, I'm getting there. But anyway, she had a thyroid problem. And I remember walking all the way to 441 from 17th Ave to go to this herbal store called Aloe Man. They had a herb that could help her thyroid. And I walked and got it. She was overweight. Very cute, though. Very cute girl. She's from Suriname. She started taking the herbs, and she started losing weight. And because of the weight that she was walking up, she ended up having diamond calves. Woo! Diamond calves. Lord have mercy. And she was looking amazing. I mean, I thought she was amazing before that. And of course, she started feeling herself, and it got out of hand, and then blah, blah, blah. We all know the story, how it ended. That's just one of the stories. You would think that would have made me bitter. But the thing is, what happened is, whenever things don't work out, I stay away for a while. I take a long break, because I'm not in it to get in the bedroom. Don't get me wrong, bedroom is cool. It's fun, a lot of fun. But if I don't view you a certain way, it's not going to happen. Now, fast forward years later. I didn't know what was happening. And because we as men, we don't communicate, we don't bond like, I'm not saying we should bond like women, but women, they bond. When they're going through something, they have their girls they can call, and I'm not saying that men are looking to, oh man, it's going to be okay, man, and he's crying on your shoulders. No, we don't do that. Thank God. No, that's not what we do. But women, they network better together, and they have their outlets. We never had that as men. So what happened is I started watching that pattern. But the funny thing is, a lot of men were going through the same pattern. My father, good man, very good man. Some people will say, well, that's your opinion, Jason. How do you know? Or how do we know that? He was a very good man. I'm a firm believer that your genetics do pass through your parents, of course. Everybody knows that. But your personalities or how you do things naturally, I believe that your parents give it to you. My father was, people would look at it and would call him a simp. Or they would say, oh, he was a very weak man. My father was a very giving person. I've never heard my father curse. I've seen him angry, but I've never seen him, curse or whatever. Or he was good to my mother, in my opinion. I've seen my mother do some things that weren't right, but for the most part, my father was very tolerant. And maybe because I watched how my father did things, maybe that's why I took a lot of stuff from women myself. But that drastically changed after I started learning, because I started looking at my patterns. I have an older brother, and this theory that I have, my older brother proves it to be true, because my brother ended up doing the same thing my dad, or the same things that happened to my dad, was happening to my brother. And it was happening to me the same way too. The only difference is I didn't have any children, and I'm very grateful for that. Not because I have no children, but because I didn't have it with a vindictive, nasty, manipulative, ungrateful, demonic woman. And there's a lot of them out there. You'd be surprised. We're talking from a male perspective here. There's a lot of abusive women, a lot of ungrateful women. My father's from a different time. It was a baby boomer. And every male just about that I've run into from my father's generation, they pretty much went through the same thing. Their women divorced them and took them to the cleaners. Well, I won't go into what was done to my dad deeply. So, maybe on another talk I will. I went through something with somebody. So basically what happened was I stayed away. Like, I stopped talking to people, period. Unless it was business or joking, or I almost incriminated myself. But for the most part, I didn't want to get involved with people. Not on a romantic level. So if you start talking to me and I feel like, okay, this person's being genuine and they want to know about me, then, hey, I'll talk to you and I'll see where you're coming from. What I don't do is, like, I don't approach women. Some people will be like, oh, you're afraid, or you're egotistical. Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I don't approach them. I keep to myself. They come to me. I don't go to them. They come to me. And I tell them what I am from day one. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't give them everything, but I'm very open book. What was done to me and how it was done wasn't right. And I said to myself, okay, this is it. And I believe that how you think and feel, you attract things. So one day, I'm just on the internet, I would say a year after the disrespect happened. And I ran into this channel called BGS. And then I ran into, from his channel, Angry Man. Then I ran into this group called, it's a white group, and it was called MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way. Well, I started listening. And I started noticing it was big in America, big in the UK, big in Germany, big in China, big in Australia. I'm like, even some of the islands are starting to grab it. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's been out for how many years? And I'm just finding out about it. It's like right under my nose. So I started listening to it. And you know what? The men that were talking and saying their grievances, the uncanny thing is, all of them had the same stories. And I'm like, wait a minute, how is that possible? How are all these men from different regions of the planet going through the same thing? So then that was a white group. And then I found the black group, which was called the MANOSPHERE. And I started listening to them. I said, wait a minute. OMG, I went through the same thing. What? And ma'am, as I kept on listening, I was looking back at all the women I had in the past. I looked at my mother. I looked at everything that they were saying, and I said, OMG. This is not a coincidence. There is a system that women have been raised in to abuse their men. Now, women are probably going to get upset when they listen to this, and they'll go, oh, well, men abuse women. Well, white women, they started a feminist movement, but it was funded by Rockefeller, as we all know. But they had a problem with their men. Black women joined them, and they started following their white female counterpart, and they joined their movement. But what they didn't understand was white women throughout history knows the value of their men. And some women would say, well, black men ain't doing anything. That's bullcrap. Because America was built on the blood of black men. Black men built America. Even down to the White House, Benjamin Banneker. He was black. If you could go check it out. But we built America. Or should I say, the blacks that were born here, because I wasn't born in America. But we have these attitudes towards, or should I say, black women have these attitudes towards their men. And I don't understand why they do what they do until I ran into the manosphere. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take these talking points and I'm going to put it to the test and see what is what. And you know what? Yes, women are beautiful. Yes, I see the value in them. Yes, I enjoy being good to them. Yes, loving them and, doing kind things. So I look back at it and I said, you know what? I'm changing how I move. I used to get tired of women coming up to me and saying, hey, how you doing? My name is so-and-so. And I say, my name is so-and-so. And then they say, what do you do? That used to just turn me off. What do you mean, what do I do? Why are you concerned with what I do? You can't feed yourself? Are you having a problem employing yourself? Because I'm not going to ask you for money. I'm not going to ask you for your car, a place to stay. I'm not even going to ask you what is between your legs. I'm not going to ask that from you. Why do you need to know what I do? It used to be a very huge turnoff. Now, every now and then I would, now if someone comes to me, so what do you do? I say, well, I deal in entertainment. And I leave it at that. I never used to go that far. But what I do now when women come to me and they want to speak, yeah, I'll talk. But the minute they get outrageous, what happens is I'm very quick to walk away. I no longer take abuse because when I was getting abused in the past, I thought it was normal. I thought it was okay for a chick to have an attitude and just fly out on you. No. You're not doing that with me. I don't take that anymore. If you have an issue, go back to the person or situation that gave you that issue. Don't come to me with the nonsense. Don't come to me with it. Because you say you want good men. And you say you want a man that cares about you. And then when you get one, you abuse it. And then what do they say? There's no good black men. Statistically, I think 51% of men are single with no children. That tells me somebody is keeping themselves balanced while the other counterpart is out there, as they would say in the manosphere, right in the CC. And I can't tell you what that means because it's going to go to the Christian group, if you will. So if they want to know, they can go look into the Black Manosphere on YouTube and they'll get all the definitions. They might not be happy when they get it. But I noticed that, even the church I used to visit, these women got issues, like attitudes. Like in the church, you got feminists in the darn church. Like, what's your problem? The irony of feminists waiting on a male savior. OMG. So it's like, I don't want to bring up the name. I'm not going to say the name. But this gentleman was given a position and they had a ceremony. And I watched how he was treated on video from his wife. She wouldn't even hold his hand. And I believe that person, and I'm not going to mention his name, he died of a broken heart. Women abuse men, and it's beyond sad. Women think men don't feel. Men do feel. Some of us overly, but men love very hard. Men go out there and they work hours. They try their best to take care of their family. They are supposed to sacrifice themselves for their family. If a burglar comes in the house, the wife is going to say, hey, there's somebody in the house. Go down there and look. She's not going to go do it. And, she's not expected to go do it. But now if you're a feminist and you feel like you're equal, you need to go down there and go handle that if that's the case. But for the most part, we put our necks on the line and we're treated like crap. For what? Why? And, I look at it and I say, their mothers train them to be abusive. Like, they get off on it. Like, I'm going to abuse this man and I'm going to feel good. Well, that's not happening to me anymore. You come to me with the nonsense, I will curse you out. I will cuss your behind out. And if you try to get physical, okay, well, this is what I'll say. I have a wise teacher that made me go to the dojo. So if you think you're going to get physical with me and you're going to, let's say, pick up a knife or a pot, I'll probably break your arm. But if you're not going to come to me with any objects or whatever like that, I'll subdue you. But you are not going to abuse me. It's bad enough you got a big mouth. Yes, I said it, a big mouth. But you're not going to abuse me. Here's the thing, and I know I'm rambling, but here's the thing that I find interesting. I used to see, when I used to be in the workforce, I used to see black women. Beautiful. Lord have mercy. Black women are so beautiful. It's scary. It's scary. It's so beautiful. It don't make sense. Black women, I have to say this, are the most beautiful women on the planet. And, well, that's racist. You shouldn't say that. Well, whatever. They fine. You can't take that from them. They're gorgeous. But when I was at the job and they'd see a white guy, you see 100 of their teeth. They're all smiles. But then when they see you, they just, oh, look at this. They treat you like crap. So the MANOSPHERE pretty much proved to me that there's a system that women are in, and they just ramshack on unsuspecting or undeveloped men, or undeveloped males. And I can honestly say I was a very undeveloped male. But after looking back at my past events with women, one, I'm glad I didn't have children, because the way the marriage laws are set up, you're pretty much destroyed if she chooses to move on, because you were dumb enough to sign a contract to be with this woman that you claimed you love when she claimed she loved you. So she'll divorce you and take you for everything you got and put you on child support. I've seen some horror stories. I've seen men that, they were given money and she still put him on child support, and he had to quit his job because by the time his check would come, it was as if he didn't work. So he ended up doing illegal activity to feed himself. I've seen these things done because I said to myself, that's not going to happen to me. So I didn't get married, even though I was engaged when I was young, and that didn't work out. Thank God. Well, let's just say things had a different route. So maybe if things had a different route, it probably would have been good, but it wasn't a good route. So thank God I didn't get married. I don't believe in signing a contract to be married. I think that's some stuff that the European brought about, because I think it happened in the 1920s that they brought the marriage certificate laws, because what white men used to do to their women when they were tired of them, they'd throw them out the house and leave them destitute. And so the government had to step in and make up these laws. During segregation and all that stuff, or Jim Crow era, black families were 80%, they were married, 80%. There was no issues like this that we're having now. So I say sex is marriage. And people disagree with that. That's okay. What I find interesting is that women will say, well, he didn't put a ring on it, so I'm not, we're not married. He didn't sign the papers, we're not married. I find that very interesting that you put value on a ring and a contract, but opening up your legs on the bedroom, you don't put no value in that. We've become such a desensitized beast. It doesn't, on both sides, male and female. We've become savages where a person can lay down with somebody and I guess they have an accident and they have this baby. But signing a contract is no big deal. I wouldn't, not just implicit. We've become less than an animal, because even animals have seasons when they do what they do. We have no discipline. Oh man, she's fine. Oh man, he's this, he's that, he's got this, he's got that. Yeah, I gotta get with him. Oh, I gotta get with her. We've become such retroactive failures when it comes to relationship that we keep on creating a cycle of debauchery. And I got flipping tired of it. I look back on, I'm being honest, I look back at every woman that I ran into and I say, yes, I'm grateful, but at the same time, I'm like, I didn't have to go through that. I wish in a way I never saw you, because I didn't come to you. I don't go to these women, they come to me. And then they come to me with their nonsense. Now, here's the thing. I understand that sometimes we have to be, we lean on each other and we probably had a bad childhood or whatever. We're traumatized and, and then we meet people and we feel like we can get help from them. I guess in a way we're using them. But why, if you were done a certain way, why would you do that to somebody else? And then you got some men that are not like me, that they will kill you. They will beat the crap out of you because you do these things. Now, me personally, I wouldn't do that because I've seen some things, not from my father. I've seen some things. I was very young, and I think that's when things changed. And something was happening to my mother, and I was very scared. And she was screaming, and I couldn't help her. And it traumatized me that I couldn't step up and help my mother. That's why when I left home, I wasn't a violent person. I don't look at it as violent. When people tried to do something to me, I would do something to them. Whether they lived or not, I don't know. But I did what I felt I had to do. And I don't feel bad about that to this very day, because I didn't attack anybody. But I didn't want to end up or go through the suffering that I witnessed. I'm grateful that I'm somewhat reversed because I don't like to abuse people or initiate it, let's say that. There's a lot of things that black men go through, and you think that we could get peace. Okay, you don't have to love. You don't have to love or love me, but can I have peace? And so I think majority of black men are tired. I know I am. I go to this Family Dollar store in my neighborhood. And, I have some dollars on me. I keep myself clean. And there's a manager there. She's not an ugly manager. She's a good-looking woman. But I never said anything to her or whatever. And she started being nasty for what I don't know. But I just ignore it because of what the manosphere, I learned from the manosphere. I just ignore attitudes. As long as you don't touch me, it's all good. But I just ignore it. And I just keep noticing black women's rudeness on the streets. Just rude for no reason. And this is why you'll notice, if you haven't, black men don't protect black women. No, I'm not talking about what Malcolm X said, black women are the most unprotected women in the United States. The women in Malcolm X days are far from the women of today. The women of Malcolm X days was not twerking on YouTube and walking around half naked. And the women of Malcolm's days, well, you had prostitution back then there, but marriage rate was high and there was a mother and father in the home and the women were decent, from my point of view. Some men have a problem with women wearing weave. I don't have a problem with that. They were more submissive. Oh, I don't like that word submissive. Okay, whatever. But they were more loving and submissive in his day. So fast forward today, no, black men are not going to protect you because you disrespect black men. You emasculate the male children. Women are raising the boys because the black community is a matriarch. And then you wonder why the boys that you raise, who you raise for other women's daughters, are not men, because you raised them. You ran your men out the home and took Section 8. And if you didn't do that, you emasculated the men or the fathers in front of their children. You kicked them out. And then you brought other men in the home. Or you have 5 different baby daddies, if you will. You do this thing. You do this stuff. And you're not held accountable. You're always judging and putting down black men, but you're not held accountable for what you do. I can do better all by myself, you know. You do all this nonsense and then you expect love and respect. Well, the manosphere that I'm referring to now, it has gotten so huge that now Hollywood is talking about it. I think there's this guy named Kevin Samuels, his channel. Anyway, some people already know about that. But if you continue doing what you're doing, and to the black Americans that may be listening to this, the males, you think that black American women are not right for you, and so you're going to try to get women from other countries. Well, I got news for you. This feminist ideology is going global. Now, there's certain parts in Africa that I will agree they should have some feminists in Africa, because the crap that some of these black men in Africa, not all of Africa, they treat their women kind of rough, you know. Even the Islamic countries, they treat them rough. Now, not to their defense, I understand that women are the nation's teachers. Your first teacher is your mother. So, if your mother is out of line and uncontrollable, and she's being belligerent, and she's raising your children, well, your children are going to end up being the same way. So, you have to have a balanced woman if you're going to reproduce with that woman. You know, I have a rule: if I don't love you, I'm not going to sleep with you. It's not going to happen. And I can handle it because I was raised pretty much like I was incarcerated. As a matter of fact, when I was incarcerated, it was no big deal. I was raised like I was in jail. I couldn't go in my room until it was time for bed. So we stayed in the garage. Yes, that's what happened to me. I had to clean the home every day, or the house every day. And like I said, I couldn't go into my room until it was time for bed. So TV was cut off a certain time. So being incarcerated didn't bother me. But that's neither here nor there, per se. So where am I at now? Well, right now, are there women interested? Yes. I wouldn't say that's an egotistical response, because they do come up to me and they ask for my number. And I'll say to them, I'm not interested. I've had 2 come to me in the gym, and the question was asked, so what do you do? And I said, well, it depends on what you need. Of course, she had a little attitude. But I said, listen, you're coming to me asking me, what do I do? I didn't ask you anything about what you do, because I wouldn't ask you for anything, nor would I ask you what is between your legs. You can speak, but asking me what I do is not me. It's not me who you want to find out about. You want to find out how I earn income to help you. Now, did she have attitude? She was, I gave her a pass. She was okay. Needless to say, that was the last time we spoke. I've reached to the point where you don't have to like me. It's your loss. Now, is that an arrogant statement? You could say that. But I don't really think so, because I don't have any children. I feed myself. I'm working on my business. I don't require anything from you. And I think that's what it probably is. It probably is that they can't offer you sex, so they don't know how to trap you. Oh, wait a minute. How can I? Oh, this guy's weird. This guy's strange. Oh, this guy's gay. Or something's wrong with this guy. Okay, maybe something is wrong with me. But I like me. I don't believe in imposing myself on a person. If you don't like the way I am, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Now, in the past, no, I wasn't okay with that. But as times times went forward, I've come to the understanding that the women, at least the women I ran into, they wasn't looking for love. They were looking to unleash their abusive past on me. And for the most part, they tried. And did it break me? Yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, I've been broken. I'm not going to lie about that. I've been broken. But I was able to recover and see the value in me. And I love me. I say that with no hesitation. I am in love with me. And I refuse to be anybody's abuse stick or abusive pad where you just come in and you throw off your combinations. Do I like being good to women? I adore it. I some people say, oh man, you're weak. No, I enjoy being nice to a woman or loving a woman. I don't mind a woman knowing, Jason loves me. He really cares about me. Some of us will be like, well, I can't let her know that because she's gonna have a one up on me. I don't like those type of relationships. What you would call a game. I'm not into that, man. Why bother? If I'm into you and you're into me, let's just live. As a matter of fact, women, if you're listening, listen to me good. You have feminine energy and you have this ability to inspire your men, where a man will go out there, find a way to employ himself or look for work, and he has no problems taking care of you or making sure you're okay. If I came off, or if I've offended anybody, that wasn't my intention. Just all I can tell you is, if you don't want to love the person that you're getting involved with, how can you do that? How can you meet somebody and how you know if you love them if you just met them? No, I'm not really saying that. How about you be loved first before you meet anybody? Cultivate yourself, and if you know you're not interested in the person on that level, leave them alone. Why do you feel the need to approach anybody? Like, what's that about? Think about what I'm saying. Why do you need to be with somebody? Biblical answer, the Lord didn't create us to be alone. We have to believe. But the Lord didn't create you to abuse anybody either. So, and that's to male and female. Why even bother? So, where I'm at now is, it's not that I wouldn't be involved in anybody. It's not that. But I don't want to waste their time, nor mine. So, it takes a lot for me to get involved with you because I'm not going to approach anybody. Usually it's in a confined area or a controlled environment, meaning I meet you where I frequent, whether that be at a entertainment spot or whatever. So it's going to be very hard for me to get in a relationship because I'm around pretty women. I'm in the thing that I'm involved in. I'm around pretty women, and I don't approach them. I don't talk to them. I talk to them platonically, but I don't break my neck. Hey, let me get your number. Blah, blah, blah. I don't do all that. I think that's pretty why they come up to me, because everybody else is chasing them. Well, I'm not going to do it. That's not trying to protect myself. I was just raised a certain way where I just don't do that. I'm used to not calling because I wasn't allowed to get phone calls, so it stuck with me. So all I can tell all of you is, my last statement on this is that give yourself a break and a chance, meaning get rid of whatever happened to you. And if you cannot do that, just leave people alone and yes, die alone. You're better off, because why abuse people? Why do that? Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.